What are you investigating exactly? Sir, I'm testing water in the fountain for foreign material, sir. Have you found anything? It seems like there's both chocolate and sherbet mixed in the fountain water. Well, yeah, no shit, it's melted. It matches the chocolate from Jeff Masters' room. And the sherbet that melted in Isaac Dover's room. They all share the same composition. The fountain water circulates through the streams that flow from each of the 4 rooms. Perhaps the melted sherbet flowed into the fountain. Also, someone's blood was detected as well. Well, that's important. What are you saying? How could there have been blood in the fountain? Should have mentioned that first, dumb fuck. Detective, please think back to our investigation of the crime scene. Detective Bad, please look at the crime scene carefully once more. The bloodstain that should have remained at the crime scene has disappeared. Ah, that's right. They fucking probably dumped it in the water. I definitely didn't get any reports about bloodstains being cleaned up. The blood disappeared from the crime scene. Also, part of the treasure chest was missing too. Perhaps the blood in the fountain belongs to this person. Him? The victim. Let's run a comparison with the blood on the murder weapon. It's a match. The blood in the fountain is Dover's. I wonder why the criminal spilled the victim's blood into the fountain. Oh, well, that was quick. We've gathered information about all the contestants, and yet we still haven't heard Gustavia's side of the story. That reminds me, why did you enter Mr. Dover's room, Mr. Gustavia? Oh, well, that was because he's guilty. I will refuse any other fucking answer at this time. He's guilty as fuck. Hall didn't do jack shit. What exactly was he doing in Mr. Dover's room? And moreover, something is odd about his semi-final entry. The pastry chef batted design, and a sculptor skilled only at designing. Oh, they helped each other. Oh, okay. It would have been extremely difficult for either of them to win the contest alone. He designs it, and other dude made it. Could it be that Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover's connection is? Detective Bad. We have reason to suspect the actions of Dane Gustavia. Ugh. It is imperative that we find a way to contact him at once. Oh, this conversation is most interesting. There you go. I figured it was him. However, I cannot allow you to speak with Mr. Gustavia. Go on, Karma. I've already conducted my interrogation of him. It is not necessary for him to speak any further, especially to a mere defense attorney. Tisk. But I will answer your questions in that fool's place. Seems Von Karma intends to prevent me from meeting Gustavia in person. That's because he knows he's guilty, and that's the way to just defend him. And so he can get his guilty verdict. Because he'd have to prove that he was wrong in his first assessment. I understand, in that case I have but one thing to ask you. Yes. I would like to know the relationship between Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover. There is none. Gustavia and Dover's relationship. It's obvious the only relationship they had was that they happened to participate in the same contest. That's it. There's nothing more to say. What? How are we supposed to understand anything for so little? If we want Von Karma to divulge the truth, we have no choice but to present evidence. It's all too obvious that he's hiding something. Obviously. now. It should be... Okay, yeah, it's this part.
Objection.
I didn't know if that was going to be like, oh, it was a written thing about it, but it just looked like it instead. Prosecutor Von Kama, I'd like you to look at these desserts. The desserts were made for the contest semifinals. Don't you think these two have a particularly impressive design? No. Huh. Just what are you getting at? These two desserts were made by Mr. Gustavi and Mr. Dover. I wouldn't exactly call Mr. Gustavi's design praiseworthy. And yet, for the semifinals, he was able to produce something comparable to Mr. Dover's. Furthermore, these two desserts have had the exact same flavor. What are you trying to say? I'm saying it's possible they collaborated with each other on their entries. Prosecutor Von Kama, please take a closer look at their desserts. At first glance, they may look completely different. But even though the designs are different, it's clear that they were made of the same materials. That's so. The same flavor and composition. It's impossible to dismiss their similarities as coincidence. The very existence of these desserts points a link between Mr. Gustav and Mr. Dover. Since you already know this much, I'll tell you that the truth. Does Von Kama know about their collaboration? Yeah. However, what I'm about to say is not going to help your case at all. It's just going to be more lies. The real connection. The real connection. If you want to know about Gustavi and Dover's connection so badly, I'll tell you. Last night when I interrogated Gustavia, he told me about his connection with Dover. Until the day before the finals, they worked on their desserts together. And, yeah. You knew about their cooperation all this time, didn't you? Why would you conceal the truth? I would appreciate it if you didn't sully my reputation. Until I explain my points in court, I avoid giving away unnecessary details. I was merely saving you time. How can he act like this and keep the truth from us? His concealment of the truth is something I simply cannot ignore. Told me about the connection with Dover until the day before the finals. They worked on the desserts together. Mr. Master said Dover was favored to win the finals, which means he must have been cooperating with Mr. Gustavi at the time. Yes, that is what I believe. Still cooperating. Oh, he went into his room. Okay. Fuck. Where was it? Oh, do I know I actually have it? Oh, fuck. Shit. Why do you think Mr. Gustavi and Mr. Dover collaborated? Because dude couldn't work. Why? Because Mr. Gustavi had poor design sense, and Dover was a novice at baking. Without the help of each other, they would never have made it through a single round. If so, what was their mutual goal? Why cooperate until the finals? The finals will be fought on our own merits, Gustavia said, and he ended their collaboration. Gustavia's goal was to obtain the title of world's greatest pastry chef. Since his pride as a pastry chef won out in the end. Victory in the finals would certainly have been hollow had he cheated. So he believes that their cooperation only went as far as the semifinals. But what if I really continued through the finals? Prosecutor Von Karma, could you explain the cooperation in a little more detail? Huh. Very well. Poor design sentence, don't hurry, Wait, fuck. Last night. If that's true. Sherbert. That's novice of bacon. Gustavia. Fuck. I have no fucking clue other than like this sherbet. Maybe that? No. Statement strange. Contradicts this was fuck. There's something here that I'm fucking missing. Concerning your statement about Mr. Gustavia's designs, I have no objections to that. I have no objections either. He's got no sense of style. Well, I saw him attempting to fashion my likeness with candy. Just thinking about it disgusts me. I actually liked his candy crafting, though. A novice pastry chef and one with no sense of design. It's only natural such pathetic specimens would associate with each other. Press this again. Cooperated the day before, not the day itself. Seems highly unnatural, don't you think? What I'm saying is only the truth. How unnatural it is, and it is, matters not. Weren't you unnaturally concealing that very same truth just a minute ago? There must have been a reason he hid that fact from us. Mr. Master said Mr. Dover was the favorite to win. It's this. Only lasted through the semifinals. I need the fucking know. This one? There's only a film. Very solid. It has to be this. Thank you. Okay, Jesus. It could have been either one. Fuck off. You say that Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover did not collaborate during the finals. That's strange. Delicia testified that Dover's sherbet was most delicious. Being a novice chef, I doubt he could have done all that by himself. Perhaps the two of them cooperated during the finals as well. Defense attorney, how many times do I have to tell you? Delicious Scone's subjective opinion cannot be admitted as evidence. There's still a chance that a novice chef could make something tasty. My wife is an amateur. Yet her cooking rivals that of world-class chefs. I doubt it. How is that not a subjective opinion? Moreover, even if you take this pharmaceutical's testimony to be true, pharmacists, it changes nothing. She also mentioned that a part of his sherbet was very salty. Yeah, he designed that. Which means you can hardly call his entry for the finals perfect. Now, disc. Also, Master said they tasted the same. What? No more objections. Is there no way I can prove their collaboration? Mr. Edgeworth, there's something that's been bugging me. What is it? The desserts Mr. Dover made for the finals would have taken a long time to make, right? Indeed. They were frozen sculptures, after all. How would he have had the time to sculpt it after it was frozen? Let alone help Mr. Gustavia with his design as well. The way I see it, just waiting for the sherbet to freeze would have used up all of his time. Just how is he able to make those sherbet sculptures? Well, usually you have it already frozen together, and then you cut from there. Raymond, you may have a promising future after all. Thanks to you, I have noticed one more possibility. Oh, waiting for a sherbet to freeze. That's right. Mr. Dover's sherbet needed time to freeze properly, and the contest time limit would not have been enough. The method Mr. Dover used to make a sherbet within the time limit was prepared in advance. Or they weren't desserts. Fuck! Perhaps the sculptures weren't desserts to begin with. Delicious teeth would have been amazingly strong to bite through them. Fuck. I didn't mean to actually do that. I was just gonna fucking, like, screw around and, like, do... Fuck off. It was made beforehand. If the sherbet was prepared in advance, all he'd need to do is sculpt it. Just what are you mumbling about? Please excuse me. I finally realized. The earlier view was correct. Huh? Mr. Edgeworth? What are you doing? Oh, so you're finally admitting defeat. No, all I am admitting to is the truth of one of your statements. Dover and Gustavia collaborated only until the day before the finals. It's exactly as you said. They only cooperated until the day before the finals. The sculptures in Mr. Dover's room were all made of sherbet. Such an amount would most likely need to be left overnight to freeze. Which means Mr. Gustavia prepared Mr. Dover's sherbet in advance the day before. I can't believe I literally said that, but I still got memed out and pressed the wrong one because I was going to flip through all of them to see how I feel about them. That's right. So you realize Gustavia's cooperation ended the day before the finals. Then why did Mr. Dover not help Mr. Gustavia in return? He said, haha, get fucked, bitch. The views of the dead are of no concern. If you aren't going to answer, then I'll need to get in touch with Mr. Gustavia himself. Or was your interrogation not quite as thorough as you claim? You ingrate, how dare you mock me? That's not my intention, but I do have a problem with your attitude. I want you to give us a clear reason why we can't speak to Mr. Gustavia in person. A clear reason. Gustavia and Dover's collaboration has no bearing on this case. It has all the bearing. He could have been the last one to see him. You claim that collaboration is irrelevant. If Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover's relationship had turned sour, well, he could have melted. It could serve as a motive for murder. You're saying that Gustavia and Dover's collaboration was linked to the motive for the murder? If that were the case, why did he not conceal it? After all, we found out about this collaboration from Gustavia himself. If you really are a lawyer, show us evidence that gives us reason to suspect Gustavia. Only one of Mr. Gustavia's actions has been suspicious so far. Doubtless Von Karma already knows of this fact. This could be a trap by Von Karma. What's wrong? Defense attorney. Not going to answer? But I mustn't back down now. Mr. Gustavia sneaked into Mr. Dover's room. His reasons for this are currently unclear. But the very fact he secretly entered the victim's room is reason enough to suspect him. Desk. If that's the extent of it, I can dispel those doubts. I knew it. Was it a trap after all? He's going to say he unplugged it, and then we can slap back and say, actually, it wasn't. I was intending to save this for the courtroom, but I'll make a special exception. We wouldn't want to prolong the trial with unnecessary information, would we? Take a look at this. This is... Wait, what? This is a photo of Gustavia and Dover and their sons. Yo, what the fuck? Gustavia entered Dover's room in order to steal this photo. To steal the photo. It seems their sons attended the same elementary school. Apparently he thought that he'd suspected if people found out he and Dover were acquainted. Yo, this is getting deeper! What the shit? Why is he eating a fucking bird? Why does the kid look nothing like him? Parent Care Day. Why do they know each other? It's weird. Yes. Just like you're doing now. There's nothing suspicious about Gustavia's actions. No further room for argument. No. He's still adamant of not letting us meet with Gustavia. I think this is very clear we need to talk to him. I have an investigation to return to. I have no more time to waste on the likes of you. Curse that Von Karma, calling us a waste of time. I am very confused how they know each other and what this relationship is. This seems huge to me. They just happen to know each other and happen to be here. There's something deeper here. What should we do, Mr. Edgeworth? At this rate, Master Jeff will be. Von Karma is busy. He ain't busy. Of course, why would he be so busy? But both the body and the murder weapon have been found, and he already has a suspect. The police should have more than enough evidence to prove Mr. Master's guilt. If that's the case, then why is Von Karma still investigating the crime scene? Mr. Edgeworth, is there something wrong? Seems I've been overlooking a matter of vital importance, considering that he already has the evidence he needs to convict Mr. Master. I feel that Von Karma isn't as composed as he should be. He didn't even tell Detective Bad the full results of the investigation. Yeah, Von Karma's a bit on edge at the moment. He still hasn't received the autopsy report. That should be readily available. Furthermore, something vanished from the crime scene, and we still don't know why. Detective Bad, please look at the crime scene more carefully once more. The bloodstain that should have remained at the crime scene has disappeared. Definitely didn't get any reports about the bloodstain being cleaned up. But the strangest thing we found wasn't in Mr. Master's room at all. There's a match. The blood in the fountain is Dover's. Mr. Dover's blood vanished from Mr. Master's room and somehow found its way into the fountain. What does this mean? Still not found. Blood in the fountain. This is obvious. Like, he dumped the blood in the chocolate into the river. This is simple. This is 2 IQ level logic. Easy. Although the victim's blood wasn't found in Mr. Master's room, it was detected in the water fountain. There should be no need for the killer to conceal the bloodstain after the body was found. It's unnatural that only the bloodstains that were found with the body disappeared. Unless the body was moved, the blood would have still remained on the chocolate. Don't tell me. Someone removed the blood and then erased the bloodstains. They moved the body. That's why. They moved the body. Something fucked is here. It's possible that the body was removed from the crime scene, and the autopsy report still has not arrived. Although we have a murder weapon and a suspect, we don't know much about the body. I've been investigating under that assumption, that the body had been discovered. Perhaps this assumption was wrong from the very beginning. Why didn't Von Karma give Detective Bad the autopsy report? To understand that, yes, I must turn my logic around. Flip the chessboard! My thinking shouldn't be, why is Von Karma hiding information about the body? but rather, what if Mr. Von Karma doesn't even have the information to begin with? He's just flying by the seat of his fucking pants. What happens if I think of it like that? It's possible that the body wasn't removed by the police for the autopsy. It was moved and hidden by the real killer. And fucking Gustavio was in there when we got there. Mr. Edgeworth? I've heard many dark rumors surrounding Von Karma. He's a prosecutor who forges evidence, fabricates testimonies, and makes backroom deals. Yeah, I've heard that too, but what does that have to do with this? I try to avoid judging others based on rumors, and I didn't let those rumors influence my opinion on Von Karma until today. It seems he is a man who would distort the truth. Distort the truth? You don't mean forgery? I do. And I can't allow him to get away with this. I must return to the prosecutor's office for now. Not a word to that attorney. Roger! Hold it right there, bucko! What do you want, defense attorney? I want to know the truth that you've been hiding. Fool. Are you trying to mislead the police's investigation again? If you interfere with the investigation anymore, I'll be forced to reprimand you myself. Police. No. My objection is with you. What? Isn't it a prosecutor's job to insert justice for criminals? Huh. What are you saying? I have no time to debate the job of a prosecutor with you. However, I will tell you one thing. My job is to ensure all those I prosecute are found guilty. Before the perfect proof, there can be no room for doubt. Objection. And to find that perfect proof, you would even stoop to forgery. Huh! I was wondering what you were going on about. You intend to accuse me of forgery, don't you? Yes. And it's for that reason you did not allow Detective Bad to investigate. What do you mean? The real reason Detective Bad wasn't investigating was not so he could keep an eye on us. It was to hide the fact that you never found the body. What? They never found the body? You creans, you will cease with these ludicrous accusations. I will not tolerate any further insults. In that case, let's verify the body. If you do, we will have evidence that shows whether I am right or wrong. Tisk tisk. The burden of proof falls on you, defense attorney. What? No! I have no reason to comply with your baseless conjecture. Oh, what the? Actually, no. You have to find the body. You have to prove your own negative. What? You must have noticed it too, the lack of bloodstains at the crime scene. So why did the blood vanish? And more importantly, where's the body? Where did it go? Foolishness. Why would anyone erase just the blood and the chest that contained the body? Yes, that's exactly right. If the body had been found there, the disappearing bloodstains would have no meaning at all. However, what if the body was already gone? To erase the traces of the body being there, one would have to get rid of the bloodstains as well. Why make such a fuss over those bloodstains? It seems like a trivial detail to me. Because it changes a whole complex of where the body was found. Or are you saying that you can show me where those bloodstains went? In court, everything must be said with evidence. Isn't that right, Von Karma? In that case, I'll show you the evidence supporting my claim. Which piece of evidence shows where the bloodstain in Mr. Master's room went? It'd be the fountain. Sit down, bitch. There were traces of the victim's blood found in the fountain. Got nothing to say, buddy?